Okay, my friends, another shocker du jour. I claim that everything, basically everything, is made out of biology, including Petra. And you say, well, what's Petra made out of? Was it made out of meat? And I say, well, yes. As a matter of fact, it is. It's made out of muscle and arteries. This is an artery. The doorway here in the treasury is 128 feet. People stand here, they're about this tall. This thing is absolutely stunningly gigantic. They call this the treasury inside here. Okay, no question it's a shocker du jour. These are muscle sarcomeres. You see these little things here? And you see the different texture here? You see how these are in blocks? See the block, the block, the block? These are what's called muscle sarcomeres. They pinch to make muscles work. They need a ton of blood, and this is where the blood was coming from. You see this little here? This is just a little bit of settled blood showing at the bottom, because it would settle a little bit. The heavier stuff hits the very bottom. But anyway, they did this, in my mind, when it was fairly wet. You see these holes here? I think they put those holes in here to let it dry out. You see these? And they did a fabulous job. I mean, it's unbelievable. But remember these little blocks. Now let me show you a little more about Petra and how it's situated in this particular valley. Okay, hold on to your mind. Okay, don't let it explode, because there's a good chance of that. This is Petra. As I said, these are muscle sarcomeres. This whole entire area is. You see the blocks all over through here? I'm going to get you a little closer in a second. That is an artery. That was an artery, and it fed the artery here, you know, blood vessels, all through here, but this was the main source of the artery. And above it is all sarcomeres, and then you get to the very top, and it would have started to transition into tendon. Right at the very top is where the tendon has pretty much fractured off. But below that was the muscle. That's the way I'm seeing this. Now, don't forget what we're seeing. I'm going to show you this in micro. This is almost identical. This is where there's an artery in here somewhere that's feeding these different channels with all the blood. You see the little blocks? Can you see those? Those are exactly the same as the sarcomeres at Petra. Now coming out of somewhere would be like, I believe this right here is probably an artery right in here, because you're going to need a lot of blood to service all of these tissues. They use a ton of blood. And these are fibers of muscle. That's what sarcomeres are. So don't forget, that's what I just showed you here, is this. This is what, these are all muscle fibers. And that's the artery that serviced them. And this is right up close, and you can see these little blocks. And I claim those are sarcomeres. Well, let's go see. This is what sarcomeres are. Right here. That's them. Remember I told you, look at the two different color patterns, the fibery ones and the not so fibery, and the blocks. That's what they are. See a different pattern here versus here, and that block? That's one sarcomere. Now listen to this. This here is one tiny sarcomere that's in a muscle. That's about up to here. All right, that's probably 40 feet high, 50 feet high. I'm not kidding you, because 128 feet for the door. Now, I have gigantic creatures here too, and they're good size. This is a 2-inch hair follicle. Now, what it is from a human being, I have no idea. But it's 2 inches wide. Now, if you do the math on that, you figure out how wide a hair follicle is. But here's the shaft, and it's got a flat side, so it was a curly-haired person or creature. That's the muscle right there. That's where it's locked in. And that makes your hair go up and down. That's the root coming all the way down, right to the very bottom, where it meets up with the vein and artery. All right, so that's this side. Muscle, root, vein and artery, and over on this side is the sebaceous gland. You see it right there? That's the sebaceous gland. So this is 2 inches wide. That's a pretty good sized creature. So this is not unusual. They were huge. It's absolutely gigantic. That's what it said in the ancient text, and I'm going with that from now on. Okay, this is basically like Petra. These are arteries. And all of the red blood that would have been there has all eroded out. The red stuff is very, very fluid. See how it's run over? This must have been tipped up like this in that area, and that stuff ran down. This is the tendon. Tendon doesn't have blood to speak of. It's very, very tough, fibrous, but very little blood. Then you go in as an abrupt transition, and there's literally glue in there that glues the tendon to the muscle. And then the muscle has this has this has this, and out here it has all this. But here it's still pretty tough, and there's fibers coming out. And out here it turns into just bundles of sarcomeres, which are, they're tough, but there's absolutely nothing like the tendon, and much weaker than the transitions until you get to the muscle. However, this is, if you could see the sarcomeres, you can see them. So even better than seeing the muscle sarcomeres, which are easy to see, I'm going to show you the tendons. I remember I said it's glued. This is in my shop, and I showed you the big chunk. This is where it goes from the glue into the tendon. And that breaks off just like a block, a square block. Only this is very small. The one here in Baalbek is the exact same, identical as that. There it is right there. And there's blood coming in here. That's blood. This is blood running out of here. What they did was they took these out, and then they chiseled off all the glue that's on here. There's the fascia, and they got right down to the inside, which is tough as hell. Now you see all back here? These were all the same thing. You see that? That's what feeds them. They were all back in here too. They're clipping away. You see the thickness of the stuff at the bottom? That's how thick approximately the fascia is on this, and it would have coated the whole thing. I have one here. Hold on. It's not that big, but it's the same thing. All right, it's this right here. All right, now here's the thickness of the fascia on this one. Let's see. You see, that's the thickness right there. And then you get down to this stuff. So, and I've seen them chisel, and they chisel this stuff right off, and they get right down to the inside, which is tough as hell. You can see it. See the brown layer? That's the slurpy, they call it, small leucine-rich proteins. And that's how these things slid around in the body. And that's exactly identical to what I am showing here. And that's the glue part. And they just pull them out of the glue, and it's just ready to go. It's a nice big building block. You see that? So have a geologist explain that to me. They say, oh, there's millions of years in one rock. I said, no, it isn't. That is one piece of a tendon. This right here is the center of that tendon. There would have been a bone right here with another ball here attached to that tendon. I'll show you this because I have it in my shop, but it's small. The rest of here is all fibers, very, very tough, and they move this way and that way, so they have slurpees in between them. Every single one of those fibers, that's not layer after layer after layer after layer. They say the same thing about the stuff on Mars. It's not. It's biology. Let me show you the one in my shop. Remember this ball right here, and the main strap is in the center. Right here, it breaks off where it hits the muscle. That's where it attaches to the bone. This is where that glue was. All right, I'll show you. All right, this is the tendon. This is the muscle. The muscle is gone, eroded away, because the muscle's weak. The tendon back here, the muscle, bone, I'm sorry. The bone back here erodes away because that's weak. This is the bone. It was right here, it's not shown in this picture. But that bone is eroded away. Remember I told you to look for the little dot? There's the dot. This is right here is what is sticking up in the ocean. The bone, cheap stuff, goes away. The muscle, cheap stuff, goes away. The tendon, tough as hell. And right there is all the little fibers. You see all those little fibers? You see the ball in the center and that main strap coming out the center? That lets this thing go this way and that way and this way and that way. Now, depends on where it is in the creature, how far it has to turn. And your body makes its own way of knowing what to do and how to have these fibers arranged. Now, I don't know where that tendon was in the body of the creature that died laying in the ocean. But it's died laying there. This is not millions of years as claimed. That's not right. These are not layer after layer after layer. That's just nonsense. Absolutely incorrect. And they should know this by now. I've been harping about this over and over, and even Yale changed the name of geology to Earth Sciences because I presented all my stuff to them before 2015. They finally wrote a paper about it, took credit for it in 2016, called it Exceptional Preservation of Soft Body, some name they made up, creatures. But they said it was only slime and stuff. That's not slime. Neither is that. That's a hair follicle. Neither is my... Don't take it to heart there, Caesar. This is Caesar Augustus. He's a goose. It's just feathers. You're not slime, my friend. You're not slime. Don't worry about it. Don't take it to heart. They know not what they say. And they said there was no bones, no teeth, no shells. There's just slime. And then after that, everything started to grow like big creatures. No. And that's their paper from 2016. You can look it up. Exceptional Preservation of Soft-Bodied Ediacara biota, which just means someplace in Australia. They could have walked 15 minutes down to my house here and seen all this stuff in my yard. And it's still here. And I had a DNA test done there, and I presented it all to Yale. They took credit for it, and guess who funded it? NASA. And I think probably the National Science Foundation. They give money to anybody who wants to do anything. That stuff's got to stop. I think Trump has got to do something about this and coach. Okay, this is the paper I did in 2015, Fascia facilitated fossilization. It describes the exact same process that created mud fossils that have bones in them and teeth and everything. They are fully formed creatures. They are not slime like Yale claims. I sent all my information to Derek Briggs at Yale, and he poo-pooed it, and I sent it to NASA, and NASA apparently went to Yale to see if I was right, and Yale said, well, they do preserve in a manner that I say, however, they were only slimy creatures, which is absolutely not correct at all. What killed them was the fact that I had giants. That's a giant hair follicle. That's the erector pili muscle, the hair shaft, the sebaceous gland, the root, the two at the bottom, the vein and artery. That's it right there. This is what made them go crazy, and then they just shut me off, and then they took credit for my work after NASA paid them. This has got to end. This is absolute nonsense with these academics. Absolutely disgraceful in my mind. Okay, I think I probably already showed you, or I certainly will. My paper was from 2015. It was called Fascia facilitated fossilization. It's on academia.edu. You can look it up. And it talks about exactly the same thing, about how the fascia, which coats, this is fascia coating, it's collagens and keragens, they coat like a rubber bag around the fleshy parts of creatures' bodies. Now, gave this all to Derek Briggs at Yale, much longer before, over a year earlier. I finally had to write the paper myself and get CAT scans, and it didn't mean anything. He just ignored everything. And it's very disgraceful. But here it is right here. NASA paid them. I went to NASA too, and I said to NASA, I said, you guys got the same thing as Earth. It's not just layer after layer after layer. I'll show you right now what's up on Mars. And they just went to Yale and then paid Yale, NASA astrobiology.government. They paid Yale to do this study, and Yale just basically told them the same thing I told at Yale. Soft body fossils are not simply rotten carcasses. People of Earth and planetary science. Yale changed the name of geology after this. Exceptional fossil preservation complex involves all kinds of stuff. This is National Institute of Health. This was that was only 8 months ago, but I did that 10 years ago. Soft tissue fossils could help search for ancient life. Yes, I found it all. And I gave it to Derek Briggs at Yale, and he just, I don't want to get slinging mud fossils at him, but it was a disgrace. That's all I can say. A disgrace to education and to the human mind. All right, this is one of the things I said to NASA. I said, these are muscle sarcomeres. All this red dust is the red stuff that's inside a muscle. This is the connective tissue. And I can't remember what their response was, but I don't think there was anything, to be honest with you. And they say continue over many millions of years, layer after layer after layer. That's all they can think of. That is muscle sarcomeres, and that is the same stuff as I showed you here on Earth. All the muscle sarcomeres. Here's muscle sarcomeres right here. If all that red stuff ran out, you'd see all the little connective tissue running between there. Precisely what you see here. Now this is the Mars crab. Let me show you this. This is another one I sent to him. I said, you got the Mars crab up there. Here, let me go to this one first. These are all the muscle sarcomeres. There's the Mars crab. That's basically what we have at Petra. Except for Petra didn't erode here. But that's it right there. That's the artery. They would have chiseled in there and made their nice little treasury, and everything would have been great. So that's basically what's up on Mars. Same stuff that's here on Earth. This is no difference, none whatsoever. Zero difference. So what else can I show you? I can show you the Mars blueberries. Well, what is a blueberry? It's these things right here, which are the tendon skin. Well, they're skin tags. Let's go with that. Your skin has to be anchored everywhere so they can pull and stretch and do this and that and come back to where it's supposed to be. There's all these little bags of fluid. I'll show you that right now. This is what skin is like. Hold on. I think I have some skin hanging around here somewhere. Let me get some skin for you. Okay, these little black balls are the Mars blueberries. The pinky stuff here is collagen, very floppy, stretchy, gooey, that type of thing. The brown little straps are the straps that anchor to the balls. You can pull your skin this way and that way and this way and that way, and the bags flatten out or stretch out this way or whatever. And then when they come back, they got to come back to where the balls are anchored. Now, those balls are tough. The straps are not real tough, but they're tough. This stuff here is floppy, just goes away. Now, can I show you this in a gigantic creature? Yes, I can. And I say this is from a gigantic creature. This is not small. This is very large. These are the straps that pull. The balls anchor, the straps can pull. This is stretched skin. This is stretched skin. This is gathered skin. And that is gathered skin. That's how thick the skin is normally. Above that is the epidermis, the very outside of your skin. And this is this little floppy layer that I just showed you before, which is this floppy little layer here with all the balls and the straps. Only it's laying flat and the skin is completely gone. It's eroded away. So we're down into the webbing and the balls. And some of them are stretched and some of them are scrunched up, as you can see. I hope that makes sense to you. I mean, it's quite obvious to me, and it should be to you. And you can see these balls are very tough, and they don't erode like the straps. Now, the ones that are stretched here are eroding easier because they're up on a bump, basically. I would say these are up here, and those are down inside and are not getting abraded like these. Because up on Mars, there's no water. That's why I can tell you, this is absolutely, it's no question it's on Mars. There's no erosion here, none, zero. And the same thing with the other ones I showed you here. Where's that one here? This is no water erosion, none, zero. This is just dust. That's why there's no question this is from Mars. And there's no question this is muscle sarcomeres. This is just what it is. It's not continually millions of years. This is the stuff we've been paying for. And like I said, I reported this to NASA. I said, you got that, you got the Mars crab, you got the, I showed you the Mars crab, yes. And you got the Mars blueberries, and all kinds of stuff they were showing. Big flat sheets of underlayment, basement layer of tissue. And then, of course, the Mars crater. It got hit by Venus. Venus was a rogue planet, basically, and almost hit Earth and caused our disaster, then came out back and came and smashed right into Mars. This is wider than the whole United States. And that's deep. And you can see it on Venus. You can see the same, well, I better show you, hold on. See that? That's the Venus scar. That is an electrical scar. Venus spins backwards. All the other planets spin forward. Venus spins backwards. It's got like 800-degree temperature on the surface. It's hotter than hell. And it's spinning backwards, creating an extreme field. And the reason is, it's spinning around the sun in this direction. It's basically supposed to roll like it's rolling down a road as it goes. Well, it's going backwards and going forwards at the same time. So it's like you had your car in reverse, but it's being dragged forward. Your tires would be screaming, you'd be smoking like crazy. That's what you got here. And when it approached Mars and whacked into it, it just discharged. And when I say discharge, that's a welding arc. You go to any welder and say, what do you see there? You say, I see a welding arc. That's what a welding arc is. All right, now, it probably more or less bounced off of Mars. Mars wouldn't have anywhere near the kind of magnetic field this has. So this would be the survivor. And it is. It's the survivor because it has so much magnetism that it didn't actually impact its surface. Its magnetic field just went, it scrubbed right across it just like that. And at the same time destroyed its atmosphere, destroyed everything, just wiped it all right off the face of the planet. That's what killed Mars. That's why it is the red planet, because it's all the biology. This is the same what we had here. When we had our event, it caused the red bed, which would be this, and then the gray clay, which was all the other settled stuff, and then the black cap, which was all the stuff that came down. This got hit so hard, all that stuff was basically gone. And then you're left with just some giant remnants. But all the other stuff, that's why there's a lot of body parts in space, I think. I think it came from, a lot of it from this event.